Welcome back to Hard Truths with Hardy, where your favorite podcaster lays it all on the line and just tells you like it is about the Knoxville's real estate market. Well, today we're going to talk about the real estate market and the misgivings people have about what's going on with it. But before we get into that, let's talk about what's going on in my life right now. It's been a little bit busy this week. I just got back from a cruise with my family. We had tons of fun. Probably won't ever take a cruise again though. Motion sickness is a real thing, even with patches. So I think we have sworn off cruises ever again. Land is for me, not the ocean. So it's been fun, but getting back to work yesterday was so hectic. So many things to do. I'm just trying to get caught up this week, truthfully. I've got 2 new listings that just hit the market yesterday. Got another one coming on tomorrow. So it is busy. But I'm never too busy for you. So if you need real estate help, give me a call. I'll help you find your way home. So what's going on with the market right now? People still think that we're still in the pandemic. Sellers think they can still get top dollar for their home. They're surprised when they're not getting multiple offers. And then on the flip side of that, buyers think that the whole economy has tanked and that they should get the house for $50,000 or $60,000 cheaper than what it's listed, which is also not realistic. We're really in a pretty balanced market here in Knoxville. Is it slightly a buyer's market? Well, yes, some would say so, but I think it really depends on the price range you're looking in. As always, and as you've heard me talk about before, the $200,000, $300,000 price range, there's not a lot of inventory that's in good shape, that's move-in ready. Then when you get up into the $450 and over range, there's lots more inventory. It really depends on the price you're looking at, the location. There's a lot of different factors in there. Sellers are getting frustrated because they don't expect that it's going to take a while to sell their home. As a good example, the market for Knoxville is at about 66 days on the market to sell your home. So clearly, it's not too likely that you're going to get an offer the first week. So it's real important that you price your home correctly on the front side. That's a conversation I've had with several people lately, and some have really listened and heeded that advice. I'll give you a good example. I listed a home in Sevier County, and I spent a lot of time on the front side prepping my sellers. I got a pre-listing appraisal to show them what the real value was, not just hearing it from me. I put some effort into running some additional comparable home sales and preparing what I call a snapshot flyer to show potential buyers as they came in the house what our listing compared to with other homes that had sold recently. I even listed the pros and cons. Like, for example, our home had a much bigger yard. It had a bigger basement. It had more updates done in the home, new cabinets, new countertops, new paint. Both bathrooms had been updated. So I spent some time really working on the marketing of the home instead of just throwing it on the MLS like some folks do. I think if you spend the time on the front side to market the home properly, it really pays off. But it all boils down to price. If you don't price it right on the front side, you may be sitting on it for a while. Something I think people have been surprised by, even if you get the house appraised, it may not sell for the full appraised price. That's not uncommon. An appraised value is just an idea of what the home's worth. The reality is a home is only worth what someone will pay for it. So if your house has been sitting on the market for 240 days and no one's coming to look at it, ding, 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 here's your sign. Your price is probably too high because it all boils down to the price. And if you want to get it sold, you need to listen to what the market's telling you, what the people's telling you, and that is you got to get the price right to get it sold. In full transparency, the longer that you sit like that and don't react to what the market's telling you, the harder it's going to be on you to get the value out of it. You'll, in all likelihood, get even less than you would have if you'd priced it right on the front side. So listen to your agent. They want to make money just like you do. It doesn't help us to put it on there high and then take 2 or 3 price changes on it or even more and sell it 240 days later. We want to sell it quickly and we want to sell it for as much as we can. We've talked before about how Knoxville is fortunate to be somewhat insulated from what the rest of the country is seeing. We're a pocket that doesn't have a lot of inventory in the $200,000, $300,000, even $400,000 price range. So that's helped us to have a market that's still moving pretty well. We don't have as much new construction as we could handle in this area. We've got obviously a lot of D.R. Horton homes being built. They're definitely the biggest home builder in this area. We've got Cook Brothers, we got Smith Built. I could go on, but honestly, we could handle a lot more new construction than we have. What is always surprising to me is how much more affordable it is to get a new construction home versus an existing home. Does that even seem sensible that you could buy a new home cheaper than you could buy an existing home? Well, it's the truth. So you may have to wait on a home to be built or a home to be finished, but you can get a great deal on it. Now, that doesn't necessarily stand if you're buying a luxury home or a custom home. That's a little bit different. But if you're buying a spec home or tract built, something like what D.R. Horton or Smith Built sells, you can definitely find a great deal out there on those. It works a little different than what you would expect. Our cost of living has increased. The income hasn't grown in the same way that the cost of living has increased in Knoxville, and that's hurting us a little bit. It's definitely changed the affordability factor for Knoxville. A lot of people are moving to Knoxville because it's so affordable. We don't have state income tax. Politics, of course, that's a lot of people's thought process, is to come here for the politics. But we aren't quite as affordable as we used to be, simply because income hasn't grown as fast as the cost of living. So we got some room to make up on that. I don't know that there's going to be any change to that anytime soon. There's a lot of new developments popping up, though. If you've not heard about the master plan community out in the Carnes-Powell area called Belltown, that's a big deal. A master plan community means that there are usually over 1,000 homes going in. There are homes that are for multi-generational families, so homes that would work for retirees, some that would work for newly married couples, some for singles, so townhomes, houses, estate-sized homes. There's all different varieties of homes going in a master plan community. And they also have a lot of amenities like a pool, a clubhouse, walking trails. Amenity-rich subdivisions are very popular, and you don't see a lot of that here. Most builders aren't building subdivisions with amenities. It's rare to even see a builder putting in a pool anymore. So that master plan community out in Belltown is pretty popular. Additionally, they've put in an ice cream shop, a couple restaurants, a Bridge Beer is out there, and they're planning Covenant Health to open up in the near future. So I think, the landscape of what we're seeing with new development is changing. As that's changing, I think you'll hear, especially on social media and on the news, a lot of folks are not happy about that. If you've never heard the term NIMBY, which stands for not in my backyard, I may want a new house, but I don't want it in my backyard. I don't want to give up my land to do it. So there's a certain contingent of people, a large contingent of people, that are opposed to new construction. They're opposed to taking up farmland in order to build new developments. But the fact of the matter is there's nowhere else to go in Knox County. Land is not plentiful. It's selling at a premium. And a lot of people are aging out of taking care of farms, and they're selling their farmland to developers, and we need homes. So, personally, I'm for development. I love farmland. I own a farm with my sisters, but I also see the need for homes. People can't afford to buy acres and acres and build a home on it anymore. It's just not realistic. So builders are building 3 or 4 homes per acre in order to make homes affordable. It doesn't fit everybody's idea, but I definitely think there's a need for it, and I'm glad that we have new construction in our area, because I think we'd be in a lot worse situation if we didn't have builders like Smith Built and D.R. Horton. Cook Brothers, who has traditionally only built in Loudoun County, has also moved to Knox County. They're building Cross Mods, which is a home where half of it is built in a factory with Clayton Homes and the other half is built on site. And then they marry those two together. They bring out the part that's built in a factory. They finish up by building the garage and the rest of the home that's built on site. Those have been fairly inexpensive. They're selling in the low 300s and so far have been pretty popular. They've got a subdivision of those in East Knox. And they don't just build inexpensive homes. They're building luxury ranches in the $600,000 to $900,000 range in Farragut. And then they've got those cross mods at East Knox in the low threes. And they've got some subdivisions in between. But I think it's nice to see them move to Knox County and help our housing situation here. We do still have an influx of out-of-state residents, although it's slowed down from what it was during the pandemic. We're not getting the crazy amounts we were then, but there's still a lot of people coming here from New York, California, Oregon, Illinois that want to get away from high taxes. We're still a lot cheaper than what you would find in those places with no income tax here in Knox County, well, in Tennessee in general. On a side note, if you got your property assessor letter, a client of mine called, and their house, they bought it in 2016. It's not been for sale since then, but their neighborhood has 2 other homes for sale. One house is 3,680 square feet. It's for sale for $759,000. It's been on the market for 240 days. Got that? So 3,680 square feet, $759,000. There's another one for sale in there that's a 2-story basement house. I don't remember the exact square footage, but it's over 4,000 square feet. It's a little over $1 million. The property assessor's value they put on this ranch house that's a little over 2,000 square feet was over $1 million. And that's not realistic at all. That house is realistically probably worth about $350,000 less than that. So I did help them pull together comparable home sales to show why the house is not worth as much as the property assessor is saying. Why that's important to you is you pay taxes on that amount that you're assessed. So who wants to pay more taxes, right? If I could sell it for that, or if they could sell it for that, then okay, maybe then we'd pay the taxes. But you don't want to pay taxes on a value more than what your house is worth. So take some time. I mean, literally it took 3 or 4 minutes to pull the comps up and help them with their appeal. And use your agent. If you've got an agent and you need to appeal yours, reach out to them. They'll be glad to help you do that. Very, very easy process. All right, let's get back on track. Talking about homes in our real estate market here in Knoxville. Something that you'll see going on right now, and it's been this case since the pandemic was over, is a lot of people got great interest rates when they bought their house. I'm one of those. I literally am not selling my house because I have a 3.4% interest rate. And if I went out and bought a house now, it would probably be about a 6.5% interest rate. I don't want to give up my 3.4. I'm pretty happy with my house. So we just stay where we're at. But a lot of people are in that same situation where they don't want to give up a 2 or 3% interest rate. And even though their home is worth a lot more and they could sell it and make a lot of money on it, they couldn't rebuy that same home at the price they paid then. So to buy a house, they would have to put a lot more money into it. So some people aren't leaving because of the interest rate and because they don't have the money to purchase a house at the values that homes are at now. Completely understandable. Real estate in 2026 is just not the same as it was when the pandemic ended. And the quicker we can get buyers and sellers to understand really where we're at in the market, the easier it is to win. So who's winning right now? Sellers that price their home reasonably up front, because pricing it reasonably gets more people in the door. More people in the door gets more offers, and it incites a little competition. When you have competition, then it's better for the seller because they can get a better value for their house. For buyers, again, being realistic about what it's really worth, look at the comparable home sales. It'll give you a good idea of what you should pay for the house. That's what your agent's for. They're happy to share those values with you. So here's the hard truth. What homes are winning right now? Homes that are priced reasonably up front, get more people in the door gets more competition, and that's how sellers win. Updated, move-in ready homes. Paint is pretty easy. I always tell folks to shy away from painting those kids' bedrooms pink and purple. I know the kid loves it, but can't we just get a pink bedspread, some purple pillows? We don't have to paint the walls those crazy colors. So always go neutral paint if you can and change up the decor. Make it crazy if you want to, but neutral always wins on paint. Buyers and sellers that can adapt quickly. Sometimes when you have a buyer or seller and they don't fully understand the market, and once we get in and they see what's available to them, or they see the house isn't selling, being able to adapt quickly, that's how you win. New construction, if you can go new construction, it's definitely cheaper than existing, but you want to find an agent that knows about new construction, and not everyone does. Not every agent is created the same. A lot of agents stay away from new construction because they're scared of it. They don't have any familiarity with it. I'm somebody that specializes in new construction, and that's the kind of person you want, somebody that can speak to what's going on in the new construction market, what availability builders have, what incentives they offer, if any. So you want somebody that's a strategist. As always, you can check us out on Spotify or YouTube. Our podcast comes out weekly, Hard Truths with Hardy. We'll see you next week.